Welcome back, Rankers. Had a good week? First off, question from a staff member. I don't know why he just doesn't walk up and ask me these questions. He insists on doing it via Twitter. Doesn't like talking to me. I think he's scared of me. Anyway, Byron pointed out something that was trending in the SEO space yesterday about an article that was written by Jake Ludington. Many of you will know and love Jake Ludington. He's been around forever, as has Chris Pirillo, where this article was published on Chris Pirillo's site, Lock A Name. Chris Pirillo, in case you're wondering, has been in the internet space for about 275 years now. The article was, email reputation causes penalties in Google search results. Wow, that's big news. So what Jake was saying here is that the quality of your newsletter list will affect your search results. No, it doesn't. When I first heard about this, and the reason Byron asked me in public is like, is this for real? Is this legit? Is this like some sort of late-breaking April Fool's? Because, seriously, and look, this is an excellent article by Jake. I'm not criticising, and I understand how he's come up with these conclusions, but it simply doesn't make sense. The quality of your newsletter list has nothing to do with the quality of the content on your website and whether Google should send people to your websites. The claim Jake is essentially making is that if you have a really large newsletter, and you have tens of thousands of people on that newsletter, or hundreds of thousands, or whatever, and a large percentage of those addresses are Gmail addresses, and which of course is a Google service, Google can then see how many of those Gmail addresses actually open your newsletter on a regular basis. And what Jake is saying is that if they don't open your newsletter on a regular basis, or if you have a large percentage of unopened newsletters to those Gmail accounts, then Google's going to say, well, you're not a quality website. Well, number one, that says, okay, Google's really big brother. And whilst I love a conspiracy theory, as many of you will know, no, sorry, this one is not real. Because, think about it. You might be sending your newsletters out at a time of day or night where people are just missing them in their inbox and they don't see them. Just because someone doesn't open your newsletter doesn't mean that your site isn't of quality. It just means they're not interested or haven't seen your newsletter. It could basically mean that the people that you're mailing to aren't necessarily the right audience. But Google's in the business of getting the right audience to your website. And they do that through their search engines. So, really, really long bow. And, you know, a lot of people, the reason I'm talking about it today is a lot of the SEO industry have weighed in on this, including Matt Cutts from Google, who says, look, this simply isn't the case either. And, you know, but this is an excellent article because it does talk about how to keep your newsletter lists up to date. So it's worth a read. But certainly, if someone says to you, you know, the quality of your newsletter is going to affect your search results, it's just not true. And certainly don't be alarmed by it. Right, now we're on to a site review. This week it is for Sebastian James. Sebastian is the Deputy Director of New Media for Cook County Government, which is not easy to say this time of day. I've got to tell you, I've been practicing for about an hour. Cook County Government. Great diphthong tester. And where is Cook County Government, I hear you ask? Well, it is actually Chicago, and it has 5.5 million people in the Cook County Government, which is quite large, I would say. Certainly larger than Victoria. Sebastian, the first thing that stands out for me here is that you drink Johnny Walker Black. Okay, that's all right. But on the rocks, really? It's a very expensive drink, Sebastian, and I would recommend having it neat or trying an Islay malt, also neat. But onto your website. The second thing that strikes me about your website is that there are a lot of different URLs pointing to similar content. And look, everything I say today isn't really going to affect, I don't think, your rankings in Google because it is such a large site. But there are some certain things you might want to do to clean up the index, and there may be some things out there that you really don't think should be there. The site that Sebastian looks after has pointed me at is blog.countygov.com. I told you it was hard. I don't know how they say this in the US, but I find it difficult. So we've got that URL there, but then you can see right here that it's a different URL here. But they all link to, well, from what I can see anyway, blog.cookcounty.gov. There are a bunch of pages internally at this URL, the ill.gov one, and I don't think they're meant to be out there in the wild like this, Sebastian, and that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. And I found this page, this is one that is, and because if you get to a stage where you've got a massive site, and this goes for companies who've got large e-commerce sites, and they go through iteration after iteration, you can end up getting a lot of content out there in the wild that you don't really want out there in the wild. And I've just done this search, site, cookcountyill.gov, and I found 689 pages there. We've got, if we go for, and I've just taken a phrase off some of those pages, Cook County Purchasing Department, and I've got all these URLs where we've got the IP actually in the index as well. And so there's a lot of stuff out there that you might want to clean up as far as the index goes. Also found that if we go and do, because what I was wondering was, okay, this is a government website, what are the sorts of things that people are going to be looking for? So I typed in Cook County, and of course, the major searches are coming from the state of Illinois. And all the usual ones that you possibly would see. Some of the breakout phrases are interesting and a little bit sad. But I tried to just go and grab one of these generic breakout phrases. And this recorder of deeds was an interesting one. I had no idea what it meant. But you can see here that a Cook County site is actually #1 anyway for that phrase. And so what I'm saying is that all these things that are in the Google index don't seem to be necessarily adversely affecting what you need to rank for, unless there's a real specifics within the blog or news releases or press releases, because there's a lot of media that goes on this site. And I quite like this site because it's easy to look at, easy to find your way around. It is a WordPress site, which is great. But what I would be tidying up is just trying to get all those different pages that are out there in the wild consolidated, clean up that index, because it might come back to bite you on the bum. I would have a look at also your Google Webmaster Tools. Hopefully you've got that set up, and have a look under search queries and see what sorts of things that you're getting impressions on. Now, for those of you that haven't used search queries in Webmaster Tools before, you really should. Because it's not telling you the same sorts of things as Google Analytics will tell you. Google Analytics, with your search queries, will tell you what people have clicked on and what search query it was that they clicked on to get to your site. Webmaster Tools, on the other hand, will actually tell you things that have been searched for that your website has come up for, but people haven't clicked on it. That's really important because that tells you what you're missing out on. So I would go into search queries under Google Webmaster Tools and have a look under there as well to see if there's certain phrases that you think, well, we should be getting traffic on that, but we're not. Or you might see some trends to think, well, we may want to look at beefing up our ranking on a particular phrase. The main thing, though, is really cleaning up all of these URLs, because one of the things that I did as well is I went to the YouTube channel, which is great that you've got a YouTube channel, and that's where I went to the channel here, and that's where I found you were linking out to this other URL here. And if I click on that, it actually redirects me to the blog.cookcounty.gov. But that's not happening at the header level. It's happening, I think, at a meta refresh level, which once again is not a great thing to do, or there might be a very good reason for doing it. But usually, typically, that isn't a good thing to do for Google. Once again, it doesn't really seem to be affecting you guys. But anyone else, I would normally do that as a 301 redirect if it is something permanent that you need to do. Also with the YouTube channel, this is great that you've got a YouTube channel, but I noticed the videos themselves, and we'll have a look at this one. The videos themselves,
as many of you know,
are not or I should say don't have terribly much information around them in the metadata. So let's get some longer descriptions in here, if indeed you're the one controlling this. I don't know if you are. Get some longer descriptions in here that are very descriptive about the audience that you're targeting. Get a backlink to the relevant blog post on the blog page within the descriptions, and then also under the tags, you can do a lot more than just 2 tags, and it can be a bit painful to do, but have this is one of the things that I do. Have a look at the sites that are have a look at the videos that are related to the thing that your president of Cook County is talking about, and start using some of the same tags and some of the same language in the description. Remember, for video ranking, Google can only look at the title, the description, and the tags. That's all it's really got to go on. It doesn't look at the text or do the voice to text and look at that, as some people have suggested, within the video itself, because it's just the technology isn't there yet. And anybody who's used captions on any of my videos will know that it's absolutely nowhere near there for Australian accents. But look at linking all of these things back to their relevant blog posts. You're going to get a lot more views. You're going to start turning up in related searches for things around the topic that you are talking about. Hopefully that's helpful. I know we haven't had a chance to do a lot on your site, Sebastian, but thanks for touching base, and we'll see you next week. Thanks very much. Bye.